2. September the 30th, 2016. I'm Dana Durnford, your host, nuclearproctologist.org. And the Geiger counter up on the right-hand side is live in real time. Elaine's going to be moderating, Shanikin. And Jen, Miss Milky the Clown 1, is going to be putting up the Age of Fission radio show that I done part of this morning, the first 25 minutes or so. And I was into the lawyer today. We're going to talk about 4 reactors. And we got 30 minutes. We better start moving because time flies. And that's the point of the short videos, is to get more compact. Now, I'll be producing series of short videos for the Jeff Rins Network, particularly for that his followers and anybody else, of course, on my site. And I'll take suggestions. You can send emails to me, danadurnford@hotmail.com, if you've got topics you would like to have covered. And there's so much. Let's start on the road of Fukushima right away. This is Unit 2. And Unit 2, Reactor 2, was extremely grave and calls for investigation. A much more prominent radiation spike after the number 2 trouble was one of the major headlines that showed up. Once again, that's a picture of number 2. And good morning to everybody in the comment section. We'll be over there shortly. There was a nuclear explosion at Reactor 3, and the fuel rods were blown out of the spent fuel pool. And so Reactor 3 is on the right-hand side, and I can actually bring me into the picture sometimes. And sometimes I can't. Okay, I got to do that. Well, boom. If I do that, then I can do that. Yay. So that gets kind of fun sometimes. So Reactor 3 is right behind me. Now, does anybody doubt for a second that that's an explosion? Does anybody, and we'll show you lots of pictures of this coming up, of Reactor 3. And do you really need to see anything else when it comes to that? Let me fix myself here a little tiny bit. That's not helping, Dana. Okay, that's a bit better. Definitely needs to work on it, Dana. Okay, let's keep a rocking and a rolling, moving and grooving. Nuclear official confirms explosion at number 3. Wow, why thank you. If he didn't come out and confirm it, the picture meant nothing. And so then the media ignored that picture. Yeah, and we'll show you Reactor 3. So does that look like an explosion? Does that look like there's, a little bit of damage? Can you put paint on the wall and sell it again? Is it habitable? They're never habitable. These are waste, nuclear waste by default immediately before the explosion. So after the explosions, and let me double check that. Yeah, that's Unit 3 from the top. From a little drone that they sent over it. And I smurfed that up, did I? Okay. So that's a modeling of the water of the explosion. But it does give you a little bit more context. Look at the enormity of the power of the tsunami when it swept through the country. And you want to think about 30 million tons of contaminated soil and those explosions and this damage. This is number 3, detonation. Think about that one. Have a sweet look at that. We're going to cover, right soon, we'll be covering headline picture. But first, we're just going to run through some pictures of the site. This is Reactor 4 before they tore it completely down. And this is not supposed to be the human evolution. Oh, that's a good picture for me to work with. I might have to smurf this up really bad here today. It's not going to give me a break, is it? Let me see how that works. Who knows? Who cares? Let's keep going. So the detonations, and fireballs. Reactor 3, Reactor 4. Reactor 4 had 1 explosion, 2 fires. Now, these explosions, think about, we know it's 600 feet between the 2 smokestacks. We call them smokestacks, but they're venting radioactive material all the time during normal operation from the fuel pools are mixed in with 1 million gallons a minute that they're boiling for each reactor and releasing up those stacks. Those stacks are around, quote me, but 700 feet high. This is a hot shot of the buildings with a flare, and it's looking at a heat signature. And so obviously it's not lined up perfectly. They got 3 down here and 4 is over there, and I disappear because of the green screen effect. And everybody knows that, I'm sure. Senior advisor who resigned says Japan government set public safe radiation limits 20 times too high. So that's the death sentence. There is no safe level. But what they done was when they have an accident, they can't avoid it, radiation. So they start setting these levels instead of evacuating. And this is the lowest form that a human species can ever crawl to, is to do something like that, where they set rates and there is no safe level of radiation. A single atom, you put 2 million on the head of a needle, but a single atom. Now, comparisons with X-rays and CAT scans are meaningless. Inhaling a particle or particles increases radio exposure by factors of 1 trillion. Because you don't die right away. It takes 10, 20, 30, 40 years for the cancer to show up from just that little tiny atom getting in your body. And once you get 2 million on the head of a needle, you still can't see that 2 million atoms. But this is how powerful it is. This is why we got the terrorist laws and the nuclear waste sites. Fukushima nuclear plume. Now, the plume never stopped coming out of there. It wasn't just like it had a release and that was the end of it, even though that's what that suggests, and that's what they're working on, is that, ABS, CBN. Fukushima cloud now at the Atlantic, no risk, says France, but is over the North Atlantic, including the Caribbean and the Canadian East Coast. Now, if you think about this one, is that we have Geiger counters for many decades all along our coastline in case North Korea or somebody else is doing nuclear testing, so we can pick it up and warn the population. When this happened, Japan melted reactors, multiple reactors. They turned them off right across Canada. Radioactive releases may continue for a year or more, even after fission has stopped. So this was this was March the 14th, 2011. And this was just a couple of days later. Just excuse me 1 second, I got to plug in the computer. It takes a second. In a Smurf top. Oh, yeah, baby. I'm back in my chair. What a long day. Anyway, we're set up for a public speaking event here in my town, in Powell River, British Columbia, Canada. And my radio show will be starting up at the same time here. And it's going to be full-on Fukushima. Full-on. Hardcore. This town is going to be hopping in 2 weeks. So the first presentation, I'm just digressing for 1 second. Not really, because this is part in the same parcel of what I do. I'm just informing people out there that blah, blah, blah. The company is up and running on top of that. And I'll tell you more about that next week when I get the rest of my papers for the company. And it's a production company for films. And that's huge. The appeal, I got 30 days, by the way, before we keep going here. And I lose track of what I'm talking about. We have 30 days for the appeal, to file that appeal. And so we definitely got to raise money. You'll find links below the video. You can donate at thenuclearproctologist.org. The film is going to be ready over the next few weeks. It'll be ready, but it won't quite get into the market for another couple of weeks because I'll have to go in and refine things, right? I'll have to watch it over and over and over and over until I can't stand the sound of the other guy's voice. It won't be my voice. I already hate my voice because I have to edit myself all the time. It's not that I got a terrible voice, and not that it matters. The story has to be told. Even if I got the worst voice on the planet and I can't even pronounce a proper word, I still would come out here and tell that story. Top official says, most people wouldn't listen to it. Top official says meltdown likely on their way at a second nuclear reactor, March the 12th. Now, Unit 1 is each of these buildings had 6 reactor cores in it. They store 10 years of fuel in the building. And we do got the computer up and running. Good. We'll pop over in a little tiny bit. Hi, everybody in the comment section. Hugs. I'm so happy to see the comment section back. Trust me, you just have no idea what kind of joy that comment section brings to me every day after my show. People really could never comprehend it. And I'm into a habit now of recording the comments as I stream so I can enjoy them after. And I learn too so much from the comments section, okay? I really do. You might think I don't come out and talk about it, but back in the day, we get 4,000 comments on each video, and I would read every comment after the show to the point where, that was all I can do. Now I had to go. It was time to go to sleep at night because try reading 3,000 or 4,000 comments, but I would do it. Officials presuming that 2 nuclear reactors have now had meltdowns. And that's what made me a lot smarter and a lot more astute was I learned from people. I don't disregard anybody, and even stuff that I don't like, I'm drawn to that. I want to understand why I don't like it, and by proxy, I learn how they're telling the lies, and then I go look up the literature on that to explain it to people. Literally everything you're watching that I do is my research, and then I'm sharing it with you, some of it with you. I can't possibly share it all with you, but I am sharing today's research, yesterday's research, et cetera, et cetera. So look at the absolute enormity of the power. That is amazing power, okay? That is incredible power. That is something nobody could see before we seen that picture. That, these tanks are massive tanks, incredible sized tanks. And something to torque the daylights out of that, it just seems surreal. But you're talking about something that hit the coastline at, originally when it hits the coastline, it's 500 or 600 miles an hour. It slows down immediately to about 100, 120, 130 miles an hour as it starts churning through the country. That churned through 400 kilometers of the coastline. And so the bottom picture is Unit 1. No, the bottom one is number 4 before they tore it down. You can see the hole in the very bottom center on that side of the building. We'll show you more pictures of it. Then this one here is Unit 3. The one above it is Unit 2, and the one in front of that at the very top of the page is Unit 4. The long straight buildings to the right-hand side of these buildings, towards the ocean side, they're the pump houses. The pumps are located right by the water itself, and they were destroyed immediately. And once that happens, once you lose that water source, you are in serious trouble. Oh, I'm still zoomed in. Japan crews face a 100 years battle. But, Chernobyl are going to be putting sarcophaguses on it every 20 years or so for the next 3,000 years. This is what they say. Fukushima, and so Chernobyl only had 1 reactor in the building. It looks like Chernobyl might have been a complete meltdown as you look at that documentation, that information. But we go with the standard acceptable 30% meltdown, and it stopped after, it was 1/3 the size, and it stopped after 10 days. There is evidence to the contrary. But Japan had 6 reactors in each building. So once again, here's another little boo at Unit 4. This was about talking about the reactors a night only for 30 minutes. We're almost 15 minutes in, so I really better start moving. So 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see the buildings how they're lined up. That's important for when you're looking at the big spectrum pictures. And we'll get through this in the next 10 minutes, I'm sure. Don't drink the rainwater, says the state of Virginia. And so they're alluding that there's something harmful. And remember that cesium and iodine are just tracers. That's all they are. And that's what scientists are looking for, the tracers, and they extrapolate everything else has to be there if you found a tracer. And the reactors do run on uranium plutonium. This is a Kevlar sarcophagus around Unit 1, and they're taking that apart right now. And so we're having enormous releases back into the environment because they're taking that apart. Think about a smokehouse, how everything in a smokehouse becomes whatever flavor it is you got in that, including the beams of the smokehouse or the floor of the smokehouse or whatever. Well, radiation permeates much more. Uncontrolled nuclear chain reaction may be coming from melted fuel in the number 1. Now, this sarcophagus was set up. It can't protect anybody walking past it because of what is known as X-rays. These are, think of a flashlight that can shine through 8 foot of cement and then 100 feet away shine through an automobile and come out the other side at almost the exact same intensity. But this was to control the emissions on the site itself. And so what they done was they piped it all up the stacks alongside of it. But you do have an uncontrolled nuclear chain reaction. That was March the 30th. These buildings are all really close to each other on top of that. But the gamma shine, the beta shine, the alpha shine from the rods themselves will melt your organs. And so that's why they only sent in the homeless, the destitute, and the immigrants. That's why Harvard, Yale, Berkeley, Stanford, MIT. And so this is the number one detonation. Think about that one. Once again, a quick boo at it, as they put it in the sarcophagus, to contain the flow around the site keep the homeless alive for an extra few days. But most people that go there will die within about 2 weeks. They'll work, and then the people that are there longer that are not working, they're working in a different section of the plant. They're not over by the reactor buildings themselves. Anybody who works close to the reactor buildings, if you don't die right away soon after, it won't be many years before they die. And this stuff, once you get exposed to it a single time, it's melting. It's already destroyed the cellular, the DNA, the chromosomes of your body. Your organs start melting. The iodine-131, which has an 8-day half-life, there was 10 times more iodine-132. It has a shorter half-life. 30 times more 133 with a shorter half-life. And 31 times more iodine-129 with a 15-million-year half-life. But the 132-133 ionizes and radiates the thyroid glands 9 times more effectively than the iodine-131. And that the jet streams brought that to North America in unimaginable quantities. Independent French Radiation Commission warns Europe that the health risk from the Fukushima fault are no longer negligible, and says the U.S. West Coast has 10 times more contamination. Once again, this is 2 million times worse than any current reactor on the planet. Let's come over very quick and say hi to everybody. And I don't generally like to announce that I'm coming over because it causes work for everybody else. Hello, everybody. Good day, everybody. Hugs for everybody. CJ and Elaine and her son. And CJ again. Miss Milky, the clown, has been down for a while. And we ask people to be patient because she is in difficult times. And it's amazing that she found the energy and the fortitude to show up tonight and turn around and going to be putting up my interview with Lonnie on the Age of Fission on top of that. And this is an enormous amount of work just to even do the small stuff, let alone what Jan will do at Miss Milky the Clown 1. Just like making a normal video is so hard, but to put all kinds of weird stuff into it and appropriate stuff into it and even take it to different levels of, I understand the amount of work on it. Hi, Buddy. Hi, everybody. William. And John. Hi, everybody. Nep Killer. I'll just whip through and we'll run back over and we'll come over and say at the end of the show in about 12 minutes. We'll say hi, good night to everybody again. Starlight. Hi, everybody. I didn't get to. Aqua. Anybody, did I miss somebody during that time? Like you say, we're finally back up. Censorship. Yeah, it is nice to see that chat. Hi, everybody. And sometimes it's better if I... Shani. And I can't pronounce your name properly. Joris? Hi, Joris. And hi, everybody. Let's keep rolling and rocking. I'm sorry if I missed anybody. Pam. Brian. See? So, billing 3. Let's keep boogieing. We only got 12 minutes. Cesium iodine both at 600% above the EPA maximum contamination levels in Hawaii milk. So they should have got rid of all the milk, and then they should have sequestered the cows and let them live out their lives. And by doing that, the cows would have ate up a lot of the radiation, bioaccumulated a lot of the radiation. And so nothing is fit to eat that's grown in Hawaii or on the coastline in North America. And so that's frightening news. And what are you going to do, right? How are you going to get away from this? How are you going to avoid it? And so there's so many things we have to get to work on. There's so many solutions we have to come up with. There's so many people that have to be, who need to be informed. And this is Japan's future right there at best. And it's a frightening one. Japan is in the worst possible position, including Canada and North America, because where the jet streams whisk it straight over, the ocean currents, Croatia, whisk it right here. The clouds formed over the ocean, tens of thousands of clouds, bring it here constantly. When it hits the mountains, the clouds are heavy, and it dumps a lot of those payloads before it can get over the Rocky Mountains. This is why we don't have any ice left in the mountains, which, of course, killed off the rivers, the lakes, the estuaries, the streams. Not completely, but just about the equivalent of it for sure. Let me go back. Japan official says delayed in raising the Fukushima to the level 7 because we could have triggered a panic reaction. But that was their job, to trigger a panic reaction. That's why you gave them the money, the authority, the autonomy. That's why you gave them all that equipment. That's why we put them on a pedestal. We paid for extra education. That's why we bought, and they bought the most expensive equipment imaginable, was to warn the population, because this is not like a banana or a potato chip or walking in the sunshine. This is the most deadly stuff imaginable, that there is nothing on the planet that has an immune system that can deal with it. TEPCO needs to check if high radiation doses are spreading everywhere. Of course, they are. And that 5 sieverts will kill you. If you walk past that a single time, it kills you. It might take 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks before you drop dead. But you will die. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. 10 sieverts. 2 more spots appear. But we know outside of Unit 2, after the detonations, it was over 1 million sieverts. 1 million. And so that's why they're only using the homeless, the destitute, the immigrants. That's why you're not going to see Harvard or Yale or Berkeley or Stanford or MIT or any of the other shakers and movers physically hanging out down there with the homeless and the destitute and the immigrants who don't speak the language. They're the only ones that are getting Shanghai off the streets. I'm not kidding. I'm not making it up. It's been backed up with documentation here many, many times. And TEPCO needs to check if high radiation. So these are meltdowns. These are 100% meltdowns. This is the worst thing. Just a single building doing that is the most devastating thing imaginable. It's unbelievable, non-conceivable. That the only reason it exists is that the industry's entire history is predicated upon misrepresentation of the cause and effects and the repercussions. We know that it killed every animal in every study, in millions of studies, for 70 years. No animal survived. No animal was cured. They didn't even try. Fatal radiation levels found, once again, 10 sieverts per hour. Measuring device was maxed out. Like Yoshi was down there, Yoshi Shimatsu, the ex-editor of the Japan Times, Sunday, weekend editions. He had 2 Geiger counters with him, and both of them died right on the spot in the Fukushima prefecture. Now, when he was telling me that, I blew up laughing. It wasn't making fun. It was gallow, the worst gallow laugh I've ever had. Because it's the most frightening thing conceivable, that your Geiger counter broke because it was so high. That is why his Geiger counters broke, see? So he got a deadly dose. But once again, cancers and the autoimmune deficiencies, the 1,800 illnesses, injuries, will show up long before cancer and have. So once again, Unit 2 had 1 million sieverts outside his gate. This was rods. So the rods are emitting gamma shine and X-rays and neutron burst. And so if you walk even anywhere in proximity to that, you're a dead person walking. I say dead man walking because we don't see women working there. Even though I know they will in a heartbeat. I have heard the stories that women have worked there. We got to keep moving. What we face is a great unknown, 10 sieverts an hour. That's why Harvard, Yale, Berkeley, Stanford is not going there. All they done was bury it, bulldoze it under the ground. You can't avoid it if you go onto that site, see? Japan Nuclear Agency finally admits fuel melted in reactors 1, 2, and 3. Well, we didn't need anybody to admit anything. We got pictures, and we have over 5,000 of them. You can download a couple of thousand of them directly underneath my video at Beautiful Girl by Dana. You'll find links to that. And there's about 2,000 pictures there you can download from TEPCO's website. You make up your own mind. You don't really need the headline, but the headline makes the story more intriguing. Huge problems. All parts of the fuel rods appeared to have melted at all 3 reactors amidst TEPCO on May the 17th, March, April, May, a little over 2 months, 5 days, 6 days later. So it's not like, now TEPCO's continuously come out and denied it, and we might not get to those headlines coming up, but let's keep rolling. This is Unit 3. The reactor cores, the 10 years of reactor cores are stored up in the roof, and that's gone. More serious than the meltdown. Japan government now raising possibility of fuel as a melt through at all 3 reactors on top of that. That means has left the building. Now, as the fuel is melting and leaving the building, it's 9,000 degree Fahrenheit temperatures. It's cannibalizing and consuming rocks and steel or rebar or gravel or water, whatever you can throw at it. Throw a moose at it, it'll cannibalize it and atomize it and aerosol it, and it's come in contact with fissionable products. So it's really nasty stuff. That's unit 3. This is 2 million times worse than any current reactor on the planet. And it's gone. And there's 5 reactor cores on the building and 1 in the reactor. They're gone. So Chernobyl, even though Chernobyl was 3 million children, according to Kofi Annan, and at the podium in 2000, in Belarus and Ukraine with permanent disabilities from Chernobyl. Chernobyl is nothing like that building alone, just that single building. This one single building right by the ocean is an ocean killer on its own. Fukushima 50, Unit 4 is special. Now, they had Fukushima 50s every other day, okay? There's not just Fukushima 50s, and there's another Fukushima 50 tomorrow, right? And these people are gone home to die if they live that long. Anybody come in close proximity to the rods that detonated and came out of the building and all over the side would have died shortly after. Well, you can die in as few as a minute. And usually, if you stay in that area, you can get 20 minutes before you'll fall down. But you will be in agony, trust me. So over 1,000 fuel rods, assemblies. So there's 80 rods in assembly. Each rod is 18 pounds. And so what you're looking at is 80,000 rods. Now, normally they're coming out saying they removed 1,500 fuel rods from Unit 4. Remember that fable, right? So once again, we break down that lie over and over and over. So here's another way of looking at Fukushima, where it's a planet killer. This is a planet killer. This is a meteorite. Just this building alone is considered worse than a meteorite. Except a meteorite is instant. You see it. You can't get away from it. Everybody's running in the streets and is flying into you. This stuff is invisible. You can't see it or smell it or take it or feel it or pick it up or throw rocks at it. Okay, we better start burning. That's Unit 3, Unit 4 in the background. That's 12 reactor cores gone. This is beyond anything imaginable. This is the detonation of Unit 3. You can see it right behind me, kind of. That's a huge explosion. Now, once again, that's the building that you just looked at it detonating. And so it's all gone. It blew it all over the site. And so everybody goes there is in serious. That's why Harvard, once again, Harvard or Yale or Berkeley, Stanford wouldn't go there. Now, they went down by the building and done a selfie with themselves to say, oh, we're down there. But they certainly weren't anywhere near that, okay? All of the stricken reactors and spent fuel pools contain plutonium on March the 18th, 2011. And that plutonium, now some people will tell you it's a millionth of a gram, will kill you. And it'll kill you fairly quickly. All the studies and all the dogs with plutonium, I'm not going to cover them, but we normally cover them. We only got 2 or 3 minutes left. And so 30 million bags were picked up, as we showed you earlier. Let me get back on track. That's Unit 3 again. This is, once again, it's like 4,500 reactors for toxicity. Like all the reactors on the planet, multiplied by 4,500 kind of toxicity. Nuclear iodine 131 and number 4. Now, see, the iodine means there's a chain reaction going on. And so this is April of 15. They're still getting iodine. That meant there was a chain reaction going on. And so they're still finding iodine in the drinking water supplies down there. So there's a chain reaction still going on almost 6 years later. But complete and utter devastation. The number 4 spent fuel pool at 22,000 times above normal. So this is completely out of control, chain reaction, yeah? But once again, number 4 doesn't even exist. Renewed chain reaction feared. I guess so. Right? But they showed us pictures of people walking around in a perfect building. But yet, we know that that building didn't exist. The building's actually destroyed, like I showed you earlier. TEPCO sends emergency mail about reactor 4 water levels decreased 5 times, but the building actually blew up. It blew up. Okay, we're almost sure. Aerolized plutonium from Fukushima detected in Europe. Spent fuel pool. Spent fuel, rather. Now, the biggest byproduct of spent fuel is curium. Different daughters of the curium isotope. And the curium isotope has the same reaction on animals and studies as plutonium, where everything dies within 5 years. So iodine is just a tracer. Cesium is just a tracer. Let me just burn through another 6 or 7, and then we'll come over and say goodnight to everybody. So here's what they say it looks like inside of Unit 4. burnt. Find another picture of Unit 4 right quick. Okay, we haven't got time. Let's hit these headlines. Spent fuel pool number 4, water level drops. Well, the building was completely gone. It was gutted. See that? It's completely gutted. See that yellow Taurus? I'm not going to show you the pictures tonight, but that's supposed to be in the center at the top. So the reactor is completely gone. It just the building. These buildings are built enormously strong. They're meant to take these detonations, but they couldn't. Mystery explosion in reactor 4 caused by radiation dissolving water and boiling spent fuel pool. Remember, TEPCO originally came out and said that building, this is number 4, you see the people up there, allegedly, there's only one person that really fits into that when you zoom in on it. Only one person stands. The other guy doesn't even have a face mask on, so it's not really a person there. There's just it looks like it's Photoshop, but if they're there, they're dead. If they're there, they were the homeless, or they were the Fukushima 50, and they're all dead. The original Fukushima 50s all died right away. After 311 spent fuel pool, number 4 was boiling. No, it was empty. Here's number 4 again. Look, it was totally destroyed. And we're almost through. Temperature spent fuel pool, much higher. But they say it looks like this inside of that. So it looks like this. So that's the lie. See? To keep you away from the other reactors and for the cover story. See? Oh, they said we got it all. Like this is the official picture. That's the official picture. You don't have to be a genius to understand what happened. Streaming into the atmosphere after number 4 boiled dry. And number 4, here's a quick pic of it. Remember, they gutted it all the way to the ground. So inside of that building is not this building, but that is the clean. Okay? And so one more, the building's explosions ejected radioactive material right around the site. And many of them did, but Unit 3 is the biggest one, obviously. And so let's come over, and we'll call it the end of the stream. We're 1 minute past what we wanted to do. So good night, everybody. Yeah, we got 7 dislikes within 2 minutes of me posting this video, the preamble. And this is typical of my videos. They do that all the time. Thank you, William, Pam. Hi, everybody. Starlight, Nep Killer, Slacker, and Dave. And hi, everybody. Brian and Parrish. Thanks. And Dave Parrish does a Friday update on Fukushima. He broke the story on me with Lonnie last week on a call-in for Lonnie's show, and we appreciate that, Dave. Thank you. And we appreciate your candence when you were doing that. I know that's not a word, but it is. Trust me, I'm from the East Coast. I can make up words all I want. It's normal. Okay, that's what we do then. We make up words, but not for live streaming. Okay, live streaming is all serious business. And thank you to everybody, and thank you, Elaine, in particular, for doing the moderating tonight. It's a stressful job. Hi, Alex. Hi, everybody. Hi, Miss Milky the Clown, and Jan Brooks. And I called Jan yesterday because I forgot to call her. I've been so busy with everything that happened to me, getting rearrested 2 days ago. Doesn't help. And Nep Killer, good night, everybody. Crazy Eddie, and CJ Aqua, and Candace, and Amthurst is going to be out there tomorrow or tonight sometime. And all these people, once I'll get back into my mode, I'll be good to go again. So once again, that's the end of the show. Hugs for everybody. Fuku USA, thank you. Yeah, 1 million sievers outside the number 2 reactor. That was from the detonation of the number 3 reactor. Hugs for everybody. I love my wife. Thank you, everybody. Starlight, anybody I didn't get, my apologies once again. I'll get better over the next week or so. I got a lot on my plate. We're working, trying to finish off the documentary. Love the hounds. Love everybody out there is right. And even if you don't like me, Dana still loves you. I don't hold a grudge. I may say some outlandish things sometimes, but I don't hold a grudge. But if people are going to lie and manipulate, then we got to deal with it. There's no way around it. And so, once again, hugs to everybody. I'll be putting out some short videos on the weekend. 3, 4, or 5 minute videos, articulating videos on certain subjects. And feel free to send me an email. And please donate. We got 3 weeks left to set up the appeal. And it's going to cost a small fortune. I have no options but to ask, and so I will. Hugs for everybody. Take care, folks.